Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and genders of all ages. Check me out. I got a brand new camera courtesy of TY. You can see me even clearer than before. And isn't that what you want, to see me even clearer than before? Doesn't that make your immersion into Jiving with Jack that much better? Happy birthday, America. The whole country took a break, but the news didn't. We're talking Black Widow. We're talking PeaceMaker. We're talking the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're talking about Disney Star Wars. We're talking about the great Richard Donner. And we're talking Bruce Lee. Because that controversy with Quentin Tarantino's movie is not going away. Folks, we're excited. We have a lot to talk about, so let's get right to it. Hello, YouTube and social media in the United States and a flat the earth.
And a flat the earth. There we go.
We know.
There we go.
How you been, man?
I've been good, man. Well, you know what? I was good. Yes, I'm okay. I don't know how I feel, Jack. That's what's happening. Let me tell you, I have had an interesting morning. What is up, everybody in the chat here? Caden, and anybody else who might be watching. Guys, make sure and engage us. Let us know you're here. Prakash, my boy Prakash is here. That's right. We love it. We love you guys. There's a little bit of news from India I'd like to talk about at the end here. So Prakash, I know it's a weird time, Prakash, so if you got to go to bed, we understand, but check it out later, because we are going to talk a little bit about some news that's happening over in India towards the end. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm riled up. I'm riled up, Jack. I'm riled up.
What
I'm
happened?
upset. I'm angry. I'm emotional. I'm let me tell you something. When I order food, right? When I order food through these said delivery sites, Postmates, Grubhub, Uber Eats, yada yada, right? I usually expect to get my food most of the time, right? You order McDonald's, you expect to get some McDonald's.
That's how it's supposed to work.
That's how it's supposed to work, Jack. Well, not today. Not at Grubhub. Not with the people over at Grubhub. No, they decided to just give me my my drinks, which was appreciated, but no food. So that was nice. So shout out to Grubhub for, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've ever gotten a correct order from Grubhub.
Really?
I'm dead serious. Almost every single time I have to either call to correct it, I'm missing something, and I just get over it. And I always go to Grubhub when Uber raises the delivery prices and stuff, and then never again, man. That was but yeah, that's been my day. I got a slushie.
Yeah, there you go.
Living on that right now. But how are you, Jack?
I'm doing good. My favorite, guys, you want to hear the story? My favorite Grubhub story is I ordered two. So there's a place here called Wawa. It's like really popular in the Northeast area. They make phenomenal grinders and stuff. So I ordered a hoagie sub. Okay. 2 of them.
Right.
They delivered it to the wrong house. So I called them and they put in a new one. I go outside to make sure I actually get it this time. I look 5 houses down and I see my order sitting on someone else's porch. I grabbed it.
Yeah.
So I got 4 of them for the price of 2, and they gave me a discount. But I called them back. I said, "Look, I found it was on the wrong porch." They said, "Don't worry about it. It's already done. Keep all the sandwiches." I'm like, ah! So 4 hoagies. That was my food for the entire week, man.
For the entire week. Oh my god.
They're big, man. They're thick, man.
They're
I love Wawa.
There's some big sandwiches. Okay.
And Uber Eats sucks, by the way, because Uber Eats, they always send me coupons, $20 off your order, but they do it in some way where you actually don't lose that. You'll like, they'll add
you're only getting $5 off that order, and then you get $5 off your next, and then Kaden, yes, I will be trying DoorDash. Actually, I've worked for DoorDash. I don't wonder why I wonder why I totally forgot about DoorDash. So
I've actually found DoorDash to be the most efficient. I've found.
They're very good.
They're really good. So look, we got a lot to talk about. So you know what? How was your 4th of July?
Oh man, it was fun. It was good. We got to have a little cookout. Had some steaks. I got into like a kind of a gaming binge yesterday and got back on some GTA 5.
Oh yeah.
So made a quick couple million with my my meth lab and my my nightclub and my but it was a lot of fun, man. What about you? I know you had a little bit of a Tarantino marathon.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I got wasted Friday.
Oh, God bless.
I drank. My dad has this brandy, and I just kept drinking it, and then I'm starting fights with people over the phone and all that stuff. Anyway, Saturday I'm like, I'm never touching alcohol again. I was going to do a barbecue Saturday, but it was raining. But Sunday it was clear. I put my music on. I put on movies. I connect my Roku stick outside with my amplifier from Quizzo. I'm watching Star Wars. I'm watching Batman, and I'm also drinking Malibu Bay Breezes.
Oh God.
So I barbecued 2 batches of chicken, hot dogs, burgers, the whole shebang and I do a slow cook. So you're out there for a while. I don't do like a high heat. I do a low heat so it stays juicy. And as soon as we're done, I'm like drunk as hell. I'm like, all right, let's watch some Tarantino. So we watch Pulp Fiction, watch Kill Bill. And for the first time, and this is purely coincidence because we have it on the news today, I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, so that's what I got to ask you. And you know what, real quick before this, because this is going to segue into that segment, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So before we do that, guys, again, don't forget to smash that like button, share the show. It is our launch of Live in July. We start this week, guys. This week, Jack and Ty will be bringing back the man, the myth, the legend, variety film critic Owen Gleiberman will be
Gleiberman, apparently. I always say Gleiberman. It's Gleiberman. It's one or the other.
Sorry, sir.
We kept saying was wrong.
It's Jack's fault. He told me that's how
I feel blue.
But yeah, guys, make sure to tune in, tell your friends, share. It all goes to such a great cause, a charity that Ty is starting with his sister, the Michelle Roberts Foundation. That's all going to be set up for you guys to give towards that. So, guys, make sure share the show this month, share the channel, like and subscribe, and now let's talk about Mr. Tarantino and Mr. Lee.
Woo! Austin, for this segment, I tell you, be like water. See, water crashes, and it's soft. When you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. When you put it into a jug, it becomes the jug. Be like water, my friend. That's my Bruce Lee impersonation. Okay, yeah. So
I'll give you a quick response here.
Here we go.
What is it? Oh gosh, I'm gonna butcher the line because I don't remember it. But it's what is it? You'd be lucky to be a speck on the shorts of Mr. Cassius Clay.
Ooh.
Mr. Lee. That's one of my favorite lines from Mr. Pitt telling Mr. Lee.
Jack gets better everything wrong. I don't know what that means.
That's such a compliment, I think. I think that's a backhanded compliment.
Oh, backhanded compliment. Like I said, I want the toxic fans. I want the hate. I want the people like hurling insults. Come on, do it. But okay, so basically here's what happened. All right, so if you haven't seen it, about 2 years ago, Tarantino came out with his, I think it was his 9th film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and some people were critical of the portrayal of Bruce Lee in that movie, right? A lot of people said it made him look arrogant, and he gets his butt kicked by Brad Pitt's character, and everyone knows, and even people in the sports arena know, that he was a phenomenal fighter, right?
Right.
So Tarantino was on Joe Rogan and finally talked about this. He says, look, I get why his daughter, Shannon Lee, is mad about this, but everyone else can suck a Richard, for lack of a better...
Can I say it or no? Will we get in trouble?
I have no idea. Yeah, go ahead and say it, but just not once.
Suck a dick.
Suck a dick. There we go. Guys, Austin saying that to you guys. All right. So she responded, and it's pretty. She's like,
now she didn't just respond with like a bloody yeah. No, she responded with a full-on Hollywood Reporter article, like column, straight up, like not just a quote, like. And this is, and we kind of talked about this. I think I talked about this with Ty on our 4th of July stream, or something. We might have mentioned it. Right. This is where I said, right, is I obviously she's the daughter of Bruce Lee, and I know you're gonna get into the article and all that. But before you do, I just want to say I get what she's saying, right?
Yeah.
I hear her. I hear you. I disagree. And I see where she's coming from, but there's a point, and you'll see in the article that this has nothing to do with Quentin Tarantino. She starts talking about white men telling her who her father was, and Tarantino wasn't doing that whatsoever. If you've seen a Tarantino movie, you know he plays with history. Hitler was like blown up in the face.
That movie plays with history.
And Inglourious and Bastards. You know, like so this has nothing to. But she starts making a point of things that have nothing to do with Tarantino, and that's where I have issue. Go ahead.
Tarantina himself admits it's a caricature. Even though when he starts fighting, he's like, oh.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
He didn't actually do that in fights. He did that in movies. Because that height is like, oh. But if you actually watch his actual sparring, he never made those noises. That's for dramatic effect in the movies. He's like, oh.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
You know, but here's basically what she said. I'm quoting her. Why does Quentin Tarantino speak like he knew Bruce Lee and hated him? It seems weird given he never met Bruce Lee, right? Not to mention Mr. Tarantino happily dressed the bride in a knockoff of my father's yellow jumpsuit and the crazy 88 Takeda style mask. First of all, that wasn't a knockoff. That was a huge homage. So, you know that yellow tracksuit she wears with the black stripes? That's from Bruce Lee's Game of Death. It's a nod to the character, and it's an honor that she's kicking so many guys' butt while she's wearing, the last big Bruce Lee on film.
As far as I take it, when I watch the Kill Bill franchise, it basically it's. Of course, Tarantino always, makes a movie that feels like his own, It's hard to say that it's not, but it's the only two films that you feel like he is really trying to honor and just pay tribute to the films that got him into this.
Yeah.
Not
to mention the Green Hornet theme plays. So when she rides in Tokyo, they're playing the theme for the Green Hornet. So yes, he admits it is a caricature of Bruce Lee. But then she keeps going on. She admitted that Tarantino, did reach out to her, et cetera, et cetera. But this is what she says. I'm really effing tired of white men in Hollywood trying to tell me who Bruce Lee was. My first question is, who are the other white men she's talking about?
Who? Yeah, who?
Because every portrayal of Bruce I've seen so far, she has said it's not accurate, but like there was that one movie where he fights Ip Man Jack or whatever his name was, Wong Man Jack. And of course in that they kind of show him as cocky, but he's still kind of the hero of it. Then there was Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, which I thought was a pretty good portrayal of him. But like they're making it seem like Hollywood is showing him as in a negative way. I mean, Dana White, the creator of UFC, calls him the godfather of MMA because that's what Bruce Lee was really amazing about. What he said was take a little bit from different styles and incorporate it. He incorporated wrestling, grappling, boxing into martial arts. He basically helped give birth to MMA. Yo, Andrew Caselli.
Andrew Caselli in the house.
Guy is. So we have heard super chats. We want super chats, but while he's not here,
but no, I mean, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm not. I could be, but as far as I can see, I don't see any other white men trying to whitewash her father's history, and if so, shame on them. But Tarantino does not fit into that.
He clearly is a Bruce Lee fan.
And he's clearly a Bruce Lee fan, but also look, he also said that he was drawing on something, and that was that at the time, stuntmen did not necessarily get along with, and I can totally see that. Being an American,
hit really hard.
Being an American stuntman, being an American stuntman, you were probably not that fond of Bruce Lee.
No.
And that's because, especially if you were working with him, he introduced the way that we watch fights, get choreographed in movies today. is how he introduced. We went from the Western John Wayne style of fighting that was being like 5 feet away from each other, throwing the punch and having the camera
guys were out of
at a
shape.
certain angle, right? And everybody was out of shape, and it looked so overly fake, right? But they overdid it, right? Exactly. God, some crazy, exactly. And just like it was just he changed the way all of that. He brought it to close combat.
Yeah.
But in that, of course, in that training, a lot of stuntmen ended up getting
a lot
punched
of people because
getting
he was
hurt.
Incredibly fast. Joe Louis, not the boxer, but Joe Louis, the karate champion. He was an American karate. He said Bruce Lee hit effing hard. He said he's only like 5'8". But he hit really hard. This dude used to kick punching bags and break them open. There's a story of a young Jackie Chan in the movie called The Chinese Connection. It's also called The Fist of Fury. Jackie Chan's a young stuntman. Bruce Lee kicked him so hard that he broke both his arms when he fell backwards. Bruce Lee did not hold back because to be that fast, you can't be that fast and hold back. He used to hurt a lot of stuntmen. So in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, this is before he becomes a mega movie star. This is when he's on the Green Hornet. And yes, people used to listen to Bruce Lee. Everyone who talked about it was like, this dude was mesmerizing to listen to. And he's talking about his fighting technique and style and everything. Because he wasn't training people to fight in a dojo. He was training people to kill. Like he was like, this is what you do in the streets.
And that's the thing, right? Like obviously, dude, totally. It was his craft, right? Bruce Lee was his craft. He was so good at it. So good at it, right. But it's totally understandable and it's totally believable, right? Yeah. To think that, there were probably a few times he took it a little far. Yeah. Took it a little too serious, right? Yeah. It's kind of like in that scene, right? He's talking about, boxing is a sport. It's entertainment. It is competitive, but it's not necessarily the out to kill each other. It's just kind of like
even MMA, they're not trying to kill each other.
Right. It's like who can knock the person out first. Yeah. Lee was coming in with like, combat is a like life or death. Yeah. In a situation.
There's a famous footage where he's training Steve McQueen. He's like, bite. He's like, what do he's got him in a hold. He's like, how do I get out there? He's like, bite. Your mouth is free, bite the dude. Do whatever you have to win a fight. Because when you're fighting the streets, there are no rules. There is no, right. And this is actually happened in China because they have these so-called kung fu masters who are beaten up by average MMA fighters in China. And that's what Bruce Lee was. He was the traditional martial artists hated him because he was against the idea of styles. Yeah, he started in Wing Chun, he started in Kung Fu, but then he integrated stuff from Taekwondo. He's famous for the nunchucks. That's a Filipino thing. The dude was like, when he learned boxing, he was actually scared of Muhammad Ali. He said, if anyone could beat me in a fight, it'd be Muhammad Ali because the guy was so damn fast, and Bruce Lee was known for being very fast. Right. But the movie does kind of play at him a little bit, but there's, I think, a really great scene in the movie where Sharon Tate is watching herself kick someone in a movie, and then it flashes to Bruce training her. Apparently that happened. Bruce Lee had trained Sharon Tate and stuff like that on how to kick and stuff like that. Right. So, I get where she's coming from, but I don't think it was such a negative portrayal, No,
and obviously, even Quentin came out and said, was like, look, that's his daughter. She's got every right. To comment on that. She's got every right.
That's her effing dad. He says that.
Right. She has her opinion. She has her say. I don't agree with it. Yeah. It's as simple as that. I don't agree. I'm exactly what Quentin Tarantino. If anybody should be commenting on this, it's her daughter. It's his daughter, which she has. And everybody else needs to shut up.
Yeah. Now, to play devil's advocate, just so we can be fair, I can also understand where she's coming from. For the fact was, he was the first Asian person to be a lead in a Hollywood movie. Yeah. That show Kung Fu was supposed to be him, but Hollywood's like, dude, no one wants to see a Chinese man. By the way, he was technically American. He was born in America. No one wants to see a Chinese guy on your TV at 8 o'clock. Right. Let's give it to David Carradine, who eventually played Bill in Kill Bill. They didn't want to see an Asian dude. This dude really had to prove himself to Enter the Dragon. So I also understand that era. It seems like here you got this big burly white guy kind of talking down to Lee. So I can also see that point of view. I still think she's wrong, but
totally understand, right? I see that. I see your point. I see you. I hear you. But again, I look at it this way, right? And I kind of asked Ty and I asked other people. I was like, did that movie change your overall opinion of Bruce Lee and how you look at Bruce Lee? It did.
Exactly. Not for me, no.
Okay, no. It didn't for you. It didn't for me. It didn't for Ty. It didn't for most people I know. It's just a small snippet, and it's very, Hitler, I don't look at Hitler as some dumb dude that starts banging the table that doesn't get what he wants because I saw Inglourious Bastards,
Yeah.
It's just...
To be fair, like, that's not trying to, like, rehabilitate Hitler's image. It just shows him for the a-hole that he was. It's not like, Hitler had a point or anything like that. It's just, so Justin Hines is saying he's with her on this one. Again, I can kind of see from her point of view because she also didn't like that movie. God, it was made by WWE Studios, I think. I forgot what the hell it's called. It was Bruce Lee fights Wong Man Jack. And rather than making Bruce Lee the main character, they introduced a white character who's one of his students. What was that movie called? What was it called? It's not even showing me what it was called. Holy crap. I've seen this movie twice. I'm trying to figure out what the hell it's called. Birth of the Dragon. That's what it was called. Birth of the Dragon. And in that, it kind of like, whatever. So, guys, I think we lost Austin. Austin's going to be right back. But listen, did you guys see so Justin, tell me more. Like, I can kind of see because he was also in a situation. Yeah. Well, Gavin, what's his name? I mentioned this earlier, but Dana White and a lot of MMA fighters respect Bruce Lee because the idea of doing mixed martial arts in hindsight seems like, well, yeah, obviously, hindsight, you just do mixed martial arts. However, Bruce Lee was one of the first people. I'm not saying he was the guy who came up with it, but he was the one who popularized the idea of taking a little bit from every different martial art, incorporating it into one. This dude should have been a big star in the 60s, but he wasn't, at least the early 60s, because he was Chinese, or of Chinese descent. He was born in America. He was born in San Francisco. He's buried in San Francisco. But I think, and look, Tarantino says it in his in the Joe Rogan interview, that it was a caricature. The way Bruce Lee's acting is not how Bruce Lee acts in real life. It's how he acts in his movies, so to speak. But yeah, I can also see where she's coming from. But when she says, I hate, white men interpreting my dad and who he was, I kind of see where she's coming with. But like at the same time, I don't think that's what Quentin was trying to do. That being said, I still think it's a phenomenal movie. I think it's a great movie. And I really enjoyed it a lot. So while we're waiting on Austin, let me tell you guys real quick. We're going to move on to Black Widow, all right? But let me tell you guys what's happening Friday. On Friday, we are doing our first Showcase Cinema presentation on the MCU. That's right. We are going to be covering Black Widow live from Showcase Cinema Deluxe in Dedham. We're going to be seeing it there. We're going to do a private members-only pre-show, and then we're going to do a post-show where we talk about the movie. That'll be for everyone. All right, so that's happening Friday. Please make sure you tune in. I'm sure many of you are probably going to watch on Disney+. I encourage you, we at Pop Culture Corner, encourage you to go see it at the theater, to support your local theaters, whether it's a big, one like AMC or Regal or Showcase. You can find out where Showcase is near you. Or you can watch it at a mom and pop theater. I'm going to a mom and pop theater called Water Tower these days. It's a small one, privately owned. They need your help. Get some popcorn, get some cheese, and enjoy the show. So, all right, guys, let's talk about Black Widow.
I'm back. Oh, yeah. Real quick, I want to say her issue, from my understanding, is that there are so many people who have no right to tell his story or tell his story. But here's my question. Again, I agree with you, right, Justin? I see. Since when is Quentin telling his story? The movie was not the story of Bruce Lee. It was the story of DiCaprio and Brad Pitt's character.
Yeah.
Bruce Lee was but a snippet.
Yeah. The whole movie is a love story to the 60s. He's reminding people that, hey, Bruce Lee was kind of up and coming in the late 60s going into the 70s. He became a huge Hong Kong star and then became, Enter the Dragon. Like, he was such a big part of that. He was on the lot at CBS, talking to people and stuff like that. But I can also understand if you don't know who Bruce Lee is, you might get your point of view from that movie, which is why the movie's called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Right. And then that's a whole nother conversation on if you're getting your opinions of people based on movies you watch. and not for the research.
Even good movies, even movies like Lincoln, you know.
You should probably do some more research. Probably
I am a Tarantino fan. I got 2 Tarantino posters over here. I love Tarantino, but yeah, we are still talking about it. Yeah, true. And I get it. Justin, I totally see what you're saying. And here's my thing. If you don't know who Bruce Lee is, you might be like, oh, was he really that kind of a prick? You know, and, you know, that can become an issue. And I tell people, well, look into him. If you don't know who he was or why he was so pivotal to America, every fact you have, he changed Hollywood in the same way Schwarzenegger would 20 years later. You know, action heroes had terrible fight scenes. Bruce Lee used to choreograph his own fight scenes. We look at it now, it looks like a fight scene in a martial arts movie. Before that, fight scenes looked awful. And then 20 years later, Arnold Schwarzenegger changes how an action hero should look. You know, action heroes have to be ripped. They got to be big. They got to be intense. And Bruce Lee had an impact. So if anyone doesn't know who Bruce Lee is and just got that point of view from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, look into the man. There's a lot of great documentaries done by everyone about who the man was. And don't just watch the movie and be like, oh, that's who he was. Remember, Tarantino himself said it's a caricature of Bruce Lee. It's not supposed to be the Bruce Lee. It's kind of played around with sort of his image. So anyway, folks, we're moving on to Black Widow. Let's get to it. And yes, the cam is looking fire. I actually talked about it. First of all, I'm not looking like this anymore when I'm doing the show. It's got a nice it's got a widescreen. So I put up all my new posters that I bought, and I still have some. I got them going all the way down there. But yeah, the camera is phenomenal. I want to thank Tyler for sending this to me. It's a wonderful camera. For once, my head doesn't look so huge because usually, like, I look like this when I'm doing the show. But that's just more of me you get to see. Listen, Friday, it's a big day. I mean, we're going to be at Showcase. We're covering Black Widow. It is the first MCU movie in 2 years.
That's right.
It was supposed to be out last year. It's coming out this Friday. I'm excited to watch it, but I don't know if it's just me. I don't see much hype that I normally would see for a Marvel movie. Or what has been your experience? You're on Twitter, you're on Instagram, you're on social media. I'm not seeing too much hype about this.
I'm not seeing necessarily hype. It's gonna be one of those movies that even I'm like, I'm not super like over the moon excited for it. Yeah, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I'm excited to see a Marvel movie and to go back to the theater. The one thing I've heard about this movie, is that it absolutely separates itself from the series. You know that these movies are bigger. These movies are still event things. They're still so. I'm very much looking forward to going back to the theaters for that. I got my tickets with my boys Zack and Nate, and we're gonna go Thursday night to the Showcase's version of IMAX, which is also
the
very
X
nice.
Plus. Yeah, it's
the
really
X
nice.
Plus. Yes.
Listen, let me ask you this. So, F9 came out 2 weeks ago. We covered that. It's been doing really well at the box office. Universal took a big gamble. They're like, you know what? We're not going to – I don't even know if they have a stream platform, but they could have made a deal with Netflix. Netflix is like, here's $200 million. They could have made a deal with Hulu, but they didn't. They said, we're only doing it online. And their box office right now, I think, is north of $500 million.
Universal's dominating the box office right now. They are inside. They're number one with Fast 9, Boss Baby, and I believe there's another Universal Pictures film out right now. So – look, they have a good strategy on hand, right? I'll be honest, I'm still kind of surprised with Fast 9. I thought it would take more of a dip, especially after all the controversy, and I didn't know how it would do here in North America.
Yeah.
But people love them some Fast 9, and speaking of Fast 9,
you don't need controversy when you got family. And there we go. Oh, get me my co-host. Where's the other guy? Oh, crap. I think the Chinese government has the other guy. Just don't tell anyone. But listen, here's my question. And here's what I wonder about. I don't think you can hear him because he took his headphones off. He actually probably went to get his Grubhub. There he is. And that's why Austin sucks. Oh, Austin, you're back. So, listen. the opening weekend for F9 did 70 million. That's 20 million less than the previous film, but it's also in a post-COVID. I don't even know if we're in a post-COVID era right now. I'm with
Caden's comment.
There we go. I'm decently hyped for Black. Oh, unsubscribe.
No, the one, yeah, that one.
Oh, Billy Roberts is in.
Hey!
I did it again. Billy Roberts, singular, is here. We're talking Black Widow, and we just talked about Bruce Lee. Check out that conversation. But let me ask you this. So right now it's sitting pretty hefty. It's sitting at 82%. So it's getting positive reviews, which is cool. Do you think this is going to really, blow up the MCU in any way? Or is it just going to be a...
Nah. This is going to be very much this is very much going to be like a kind of like a Rogue One, right?
Yeah.
Rogue One is probably one of my favorite Star Wars stories, right?
Oh, I love Rogue One.
So good. It does absolutely nothing to affect the overall universe of Star Wars. It has zero effect.
Yeah.
Exactly. Besides the little snippet that you know that they saved the day, right? Or they destroyed the first time. But other than that, so I'm looking forward to it in the sense that I think it's gonna be a great first try for Marvel to do a standalone film, to do a film that I don't think it's gonna be, have any major crazy reveals or,
I was kind of hoping that maybe there might be a scene where, the Soul Stone is returned and she's alive, but I get the vibe that that's not what's coming. I mean, not that I've read spoilers or anything, but
if they do that,
and she's still alive out there, stuck on Vormir.
Yeah, I don't know how that would go.
Who the hell's going to come back to Vormir to find her?
I mean, look, I think it's a toss up, right? Because Gavin makes a great point. They should have done this, and they should have done this before 2017, 2015, because back in this, I was hearing more calls for a Black Widow movie after the first Avengers than I was after Endgame. You know what I mean? And so I think Marvel kind of missed the mark there as far as the timing. They probably could have done this.
Here's my question, because this is coming out after the fact. It's the first MCU movie in 2 years. Mm-hmm. It might be adequate, but that might not be a good thing. Adequate is not what the MCU needs right now. Yeah, look, Loki's killing it, but I have a feeling this movie's going to come and go without too much fanfare. And I think part of the reason is it's coming out way too late, as Gavin is saying. Billy Robert is saying, didn't this movie come out 9 years ago? Justin is saying, I have zero hype for this movie. I don't know why, but I'm excited to cover it this Friday, and I'm excited to see it, but I think it'll just be like, I don't know, like the purple popsicle. Yeah, it's a popsicle, but it's not really your favorite popsicle. Like, nothing about the trailer really blew my mind. Nothing really got me like, oh my God, I can't wait to see this. Because even Spider-Man, what was it called?
Far From
Home had me hyped. The Loki trailer had me hyped. Even WandaVision kind of had me hyped.
Exactly.
Doesn't really have me hyped too much. I don't know. I'm not trying to be like.
I'm going in just with the one expectation, and that is some really cool, like Jason Bourne-esque action. Like in Marvel scale, right? Obviously that scene where she's like flying down with Taskmaster. But I kind of look forward to seeing that scene in its full. But other than that, I agree with you. Very, very low hype.
I also think Billy the fact that she's dead, kind of makes this movie feel unless they were doing something in the post-credit scene, which I don't think. I feel like people would say.
I don't think she's not coming back. I've heard about what the post-credit scene. So now look, I don't really say this out much around here because I know Ty is a big Ty. It's against Ty's spoilers or against Ty's religion.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something, Jack. I'm gonna fill you in on a little secret.
All right.
I don't care about spoilers. I figured out and looked up the plot of Endgame and put it together like 2 months before it came out, and then I the only thing that I did not know that I wasn't positive on was who sacrificed themselves on Vormir. And my friend who worked at the movie theater got to see it a week before it came out. They let the theater people see it. I called him as soon as he got out, and I said, is it, Black Widow or is it Hawkeye? And he was like, Black Widow. I was like, yeah.
Yep.
Other than that, I figured it all out. I'd read it all online. I've been kind of keeping up with the No Way Home.
So you're okay with that? So for me, again, I get mad.
Okay.
Like I don't want to know.
I'm not gonna lie. I basically know exactly what I'm walking into.
Yeah, and I'm guessing. Like, look, I don't think this is. I don't think she's coming back. I thought they might go in that direction.
No,
bring her back, but I don't think she's like maybe a post-credit scene was. This is my theory. Cap returns a Soul Stone, and all of a sudden she like wakes up or whatever, like because now the soul has been returned, or whatever here. But we're not gonna get into spoilers. I don't want to see. I'm waiting to see.
Yeah, no, we're not. No. I'm just saying as far as spoilers go, because Kaden mentioned I know the whole movie basically, and I kind of feel I don't, and it doesn't ruin it for me. Like Endgame, even though I knew that certain things were gonna. So I knew Thanos was gonna get beheaded in the first 20 minutes. I was like. I still was like impressed and super happy in the theater. Like it doesn't really affect my my reaction to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, no spoilers right now, obviously until the movie. Why would I want to know? I have a thing. I'm anxious. I want to know, man. I don't want it, especially. And don't you get a little tired? Like they release the trailers for these movies like 6 to 8 months before, and then you're just sitting on your ass like. Waiting for them to take your money. Like at this point, like. But
this is what you do. You do other stuff. You just keep yourself busy.
You do.
Dude, like I'll tell you this. Morning Infinity War came out. Mm-hmm. So it came out on a Friday. I was going to see it that Thursday. My uncle had a funeral.
Yeah.
The day the Infinity War got. I go to the funeral. My stupid little cousins from Chicago are there. I'm like, yeah, I'm actually going to see Infinity War tonight. We're going to a midnight showing. She's like, oh, yeah, isn't that crazy? Loki died. I'm like, what? I could have strangled her right there. Now, yeah, there were theories, but I'm like, why did you? And I start yelling at her in the middle of the funeral. Like, not the funeral itself, but like, when you have.
In the middle of the funeral.
Don't tell me that.
Your poor family, your uncle's lying there, and you're just like, you just spoiled Infinity War for me.
Yeah, I know. Luckily, it happened at the beginning because if that was like, let's say Loki had a bigger role in Infinity War and dies at the end, I would have been mad. I would have been so mad. I would have sent the Chinese after my cousin.
Billy, yes, they are charging $30 on Disney Premier Access. As far as I'm aware, it's $29.99.
Just go see it in the theater. Look, if you go see it like early, go.
Look, I'll be honest.
There's a mom pop theater I like to go to. They only charge $9.
I'm going. I'm like you said. I'm going to see the X Plus version. That's $20.
Yeah,
it's $20 right there.
So let me ask you this. Let me see, because he brings up a point. Here's the thing. This movie doesn't have as much hype as Marvel movies usually do. Okay.
Right.
Number two, it's not. It's going to be streaming also. So people are like, okay, well, HBO's giving it to me for free. Not for free, but I'm already. So if I want to watch The Conjuring, if I want to see Mortal Kombat, I can just watch that as part of my subscription.
Yeah.
Do you think this movie is going to beat F9's opening weekend? If half of it's online,
yes.
And half of it is.
Yes.
You think so?
Yes.
Because
and look, we continue to witness it over and time again. I may not be particularly one of those people anymore, right? I used to be a diehard dude when I was like 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, even 20, 21.
Yeah.
I was at every Marvel movie, every Star Wars movie, every DC movie. I was there at the midnight showing every Thursday. Yeah. I mean, I didn't miss it for the world.
I'm still like that, man. I still go.
And then Captain Marvel started happening. No, actually, it was. No, Captain Marvel was the first.
What? Everyone, I consider that to be a dud. It wasn't that it was.
And you know what? Actually, I don't think it was Captain Marvel. Did Ant-Man and the Wasp come out before?
Yeah, that came out before.
Started with Ant-Man and the Wasp. I didn't go see Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Right over there.
Right. And I
actually enjoyed it, Ant-Man and the Wasp, just because I knew what it was going to be.
I think it's the only Marvel movie I haven't seen.
Really? So Captain Marvel I saw, and I remember leaving the theater feeling nothing.
Yeah, well, I saw it, of course. I saw it on Disney Plus. Adam, what's up, dude? I saw it on Disney Plus. I didn't see it in theaters. That was another one that I missed. I didn't see it in theaters. And I saw it on Disney Plus, and I actually was like, I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't think it was near as bad as everybody criticized.
I don't think it's bad. I just thought it was.
I loved it. I actually really liked it.
I saw it in theaters. I have not watched it again. It's the only MCU movie out that I do not own. I have everything else.
Yeah.
Even Thor: The Dark World.
Now, I will say this, right? Caden makes a good point, right? Captain Marvel is good, to say nicely. I enjoyed it. Again, a personal thing maybe. I love Jude Law. I really like Brie Larson. I really just kind of like the overall actors in that movie. Also, I did, like I said, still haven't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I felt like that was such an underwhelming follow-up to Infinity War. And then Far From Home was the follow-up to Endgame, and on the outside, I was like, okay, I am a massive Spider-Man fan. Of all the Marvel heroes, he's my favorite, so there was no way I wasn't going to see the movie, even though I hated Homecoming and I'm not a fan of Tom Holland. I still go see. I don't care. I will see those movies. But even then, I was going into it. I was worried. I was like, this is such a weird follow up to Endgame, man. Endgame, we literally just saw every superhero team up to save the world against Thanos. And but actually, I came back with I think Far From Home is an excellent follow up to Endgame.
Okay, that's how I felt about it. To me, that was a nice kind of tying up the loose ends. But here's the go. Look what Rick Jameson is saying, because I feel like a lot of people are not going to pay $30 to see this on Friday. I'm not saying that in a non-COVID world, Captain Marvel, Black Widow comes out on time. It's $1 billion movie. But because half of it's on Disney Plus and the other half is going to the theater, I don't think people are going to do either. I think people are just going to read the reviews, read the spoilers. And I think this might be the first MCU movie that underperforms.
No, I don't think so. And you know what? I would possibly, but you know what, man? These diehards, seriously, there are people that are gonna go see this movie.
Look at Caden over here.
Movie now. Yeah, he's mad because I know. Look, and look,
guys, you ever see my Caden impression? This is my Caden impression. Hi, guys.
Savage. That's just mean. No, we love you, Caden. We love you.
I love you.
No, we're kidding.
For the longest time, I thought he was a white kid because I mixed him up with another kid who Ty found and was like, join the show. And I thought that was the same kid. His name was Christian, apparently. But anyway.
Oh, okay. See, no, I don't think Tom Holland is a bad actor at all. Can I
just go on the record and say that I like Tom Holland's Spider-Man? Everyone's going to think that that's our opinion. It is not our opinion. That is his opinion.
Right. No, this is the official opinion of Pop Culture Corner. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. This is mine and my opinion only. Look, I would tell you, as a Spider-Man fan, as a big time Spider-Man fan, I was really upset walking out of Homecoming. It's the one Marvel movie that I was like, they just absolutely butchered that movie. I'm not a fan of this whole. Of the whole MCU, his reliance. And look, now I will say this too, right? I know that the MCU is drawing from more recent iterations of Spider-Man. I'm very much more used to the Amazing Spider-Man and the comic iterations where he's in college and he's kind of just dealing with some more
you don't like the Ultimate Spider-Man stuff, because I loved Ultimate Spider-Man. That's where they had Black Nick Fury with Samuel L. Jackson.
Right. No, I know. I'm just not. I still am not a fan of the Ultimate Spider-Man stuff. I mean, it's cool. It's cool.
I didn't like Ultimate Punisher.
Right. Let's see. Yeah, Andrew's here. He's like, ooh, Spider-Man talk.
Yep.
But hold on, I gotta go through this. Because Gavin said you hated Homecoming. Yeah, I did love Michael Keaton's Vulture. And that's one character I've been waiting to see in a Spider-Man movie for a long time. But again, Tom Holland was just so boyish and so annoying at some points, and just so.
But his story in the comics starts in high school, though.
I get it. But he's that over annoying nerd that you just want to punch. He's not likable.
Peter Parker. That's why he's always being picked on by everyone. Everyone's always picking on him.
The Peter Parker that I knew is not annoying to the point you want to punch him. He's obviously picked on by the jocks and by people like Flash. But this Tom Holland just comes off as like anybody, whether you're a jock or just straight up like me. I'd punch him. I famously say, and I can't wait to see what this chat says because I say it all the time. But that scene that's supposed to be his big inspiring moment when he's lifting the the airplane. He's just everybody. You know, I was like crush him like a bug. Let it go. Bring back Andrew. Bring back Toby. I don't care. I couldn't care less about the inspiration, right, of that scene. But again, it's nothing against Tom as the actor. It's just I don't like that iteration of Spider-Man. I don't like that comic. Let's see. Toby had his own suit. He had his own responsibility, and he had no one. Again, I don't like his reliance on Iron Man too. He's basically
but see, that's the world they
by
built,
Iron Man.
Yeah,
and I get it. But this whole thing of like Iron Man's playing like the tough father that's holding back on the nice Spider-Man suits. Like screw off, dude. Like Spider-Man makes his own suit. Spider-Man, you know, like. There's just a lot of things that...
In the movie, he saves the day by literally wearing his little onesie with the hoodie, you know. That was the whole...
That was the other thing. The MCU version of that first suit, I was not a fan of, with the goggles and that. Yeah, it was the hood. Yeah. Let's see. Toby stands are annoying. Well, Holland fans are annoying. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Look, I don't think any like of this fans are annoying. Again, I'm not criticizing. My personal preference, my personal opinion... I'm not a fan of the storyline of the Ultimate Spider-Man. Tom's growing on me.
Yeah,
Tom is growing.
But here's what's interesting. The one thing they captured really well in the first Spider-Man, is sort of the war he has with the media. That in the media he's portrayed as a troublemaker, but he's actually trying to help people, and that was something the Raimi films got really well. You know, the kind of war he has with J. Jonah Jameson, you know, where J. Jonah Jameson is always like, he's a menace, he's a terrible guy, you know.
Dude, I love it. The chat's lighting me up, and I love it.
There you go.
Let's see. Well, first of all, Andrew, Rick, play nice. Everybody, this is all for
No,
fun.
don't play nice. I want heat. I want anger. I want threats to be made.
Andrew, you know I love you. Me and Andrew have the same love and passion for Spider-Man, so we know. Let's see. I think you just have anger issues. I do have anger issues.
You're hanging out with Ty too much. That's why.
I do have anger issues.
When we started this podcast, he used to look so young. He has aged and he looks older than I do. That's all that time with Ty. Ty's always getting angry all the time. Like, hey man.
Look, I don't have anger issues. Okay, I'm a passionate person, Justin.
Yeah,
okay?
That's what we want.
I'm a passionate person. Andy was a bad Peter and Spider-Man. I hate the Amazing Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man 2. See, again, look, Caden hates the Amazing Spider-Man. I hate Tom Holland. Look, we can go...
We go back and forth.
It's just a matter of opinion. I personally really enjoy the Amazing Spider-Man. I will say I get the complaints, and I actually agree with some of them, right? You know, Andrew looks absolutely nothing like a Peter Parker at all. That kid is gorgeous, and Peter Parker was not gorgeous as far as I'm concerned. But, you know, another thing
struck me as, like, he's the guy that girls call cute. Like, not attractive you want to date, but, like, oh, he's cute. You know, he's all right.
Right. Yeah. Andrew, you're the man. Toby coming back. That's right. I hope Toby coming back.
I keep hearing that rumors that they're going to be in him and Andrew Garfield. It's always like the worst scoopers, like the ones who say confirmed, and then it'll be like,
right. I have a different bet placed that I think Spider-Man No Way Home is going to make more money than The Flash with Ty, but I feel like I also have a bet with somebody as to I'm betting Toby and Andrew show up in this film. Yeah, I think when Tony offered...
Do you think it will be bigger than The Flash?
I do. Oh yeah, No Way Home is going to crush The Flash. It's the Marvel multiverse. Yeah. This is something that people have been waiting for 10 years for, and Marvel's been building for 10 years for it. DC is literally trying to build their multiverse, you know, in like a year or 2 year time frame, taking, you know, obvious. But it's just not the same. It doesn't have the same momentum. It's like you can't even compare the two. But I think when Tony offered him to be with the Avengers, Peter shuts it down and wants to continue what he promised. I agree. I remember that, right? Well, but I just remember that whole scene that it was like, I think he was literally holding out on a suit. Tony was literally holding out on a spider suit and was like, you know, you're not ready, you're not, or whatever, go home. Or it was after Vulture splits that ship in half, and that whole thing happened.
And Tony, why I think Spider-Man 3 could be amazing. I'm calling it Spider-Man No Way Home. Because one of the issues I had in the first two, like you said, is that the Avengers are always there to back them up. Well, now you don't have an Avengers. They could do a citywide ending threat to New York City, and Spider-Man is alone. Like, he's got no Captain America. He's got no Tony Stark. He's got no Thor. Like, he's got no Captain Marvel. This dude has to save New York by himself. That could make one hell of a movie. That could be like the first two Spider-Man.
Now, and look, and that's where
and I need to see Spider-Man swing in Manhattan, please.
Right, and that's where we get to Far From Home too, right? I do want to say Rick Jameson said Trash Point will be trash, and I absolutely love when Rick comes in with Trash Point. Trash Point will be trash. I don't think it's gonna be trash. I just don't think it's gonna touch money wise to a Marvel film. But let's see. I have the worst internet tonight. Okay, I'm sorry. I gotta go back in the comments. But
you know what it is?
What you just said with Spider-Man.
It's not your internet. It's that this camera is so good, the internet just can't handle me.
Can't handle this right now. But you know, Far From Home, right? I start to like.
Comments are on fire, baby.
Love it, guys. Thank you so much for the engagement. We love it. Keep it going. We're gonna address every single one of you.
Yes.
I do want to tell you.
Not here.
Yeah. But you said Far From Home, right?
Yeah.
I like Far From Home. I do like it so much more better because it does start to establish Peter as his own.
Yeah.
Peter Parker in the comics, he's a smart guy. He puts it. I like that, you know, in Far From Home, he's using Stark's technology, but he's designing the suit.
Yeah.
He's putting it together. I like in Far From Home that whole strategy. He comes up with the whole strategy, right, to take on those bots that are like, that's a whole army. Like,
yeah.
And I like that it shows his strength. So Far From Home is a massive, for me, a massive step up from Homecoming. Wasn't the goggle suit similar in the comics? It probably was.
Yeah.
I still didn't like it. I'm sure Marvel had the right
Adam, you're getting ahead of me. I have that. Adam's we get his package.
Oh God, how does Adam?
Let's talk about Austin's package for a little bit. You got to sign for it, baby. I'm just gonna leg now, though. So just
right. Let's see. I'm mixed on Tom Spidey. I like how strong he is, and when he just catches Winter Soldier's arm. Negatives are I don't like the suit, and he gets manipulated a lot. Yep. And that's something Marvel's playing off because he's young and a teenager and all that. I'm sure if Marvel had the right to Reed Richards, he would have been Peter Parker's mentor. That would have been cool. I would love.
Yeah.
I have the worst internet tonight, Adam Silvestri, and anger issues. Well, I got some anger issues too, Adam, so I feel you. Apparently I have anger issues.
Yeah, apparently you have anger issues, according to Justin.
According to the chat tonight. Sam Raimi take on Spider-Man is exactly what Stan Lee and Steve Ditko envisioned.
I agree with that to some degree.
I agree. And look, Stan Lee has like long said that like those movies are special to him. Yeah. Those Spider-Man original trilogy.
Can I tell a quick story about Stan Lee? About that movie. So him and Bob Kane, who was the co-creator of Batman, used to always give him crap in the 80s and 90s because he'd always invite Stan to the premieres. He's like, Stan, take a look at this. Batman's the #1 movie in America. What happened to Spider-Man? And then Stan Lee did an interview in 2002. He's like, now Spider-Man is finally here, and Bob Kane has left us. Now I finally could have had my revenge because Spider-Man was a huge movie in 2002. And where's Bob Kane? So that was a little cute story about that because that Sam Raimi film was huge when it came out.
Right. I agree. Yeah, they were huge. Those movies were so big, man.
Yeah.
I remember even being little, and my dad being a dad, he liked Nickelback. But Spider-Man had that song from the theme song from Nickelback. That was
hero to save me.
Not gonna stand here and wait. Oh yeah, bro. Like, come on.
I bought that soundtrack for that one song.
Heck yeah, dude. There was that
had that
soundtrack.
Cool CD, yeah.
That soundtrack, phenomenal.
Yeah.
The Raimi suit was the suit from the comics right to the big screen. I agree. I can't wait for Reed. What's yours and Ty's bet now? So, Adam, me and Ty have a bet, which is I am betting. It's a big one. It's $100 bet, but I'm betting that No Way Home is going to make more money at the box office than Flashpoint or than The Flash or Trash Point, as Rick Jameson refers to it.
Every time I read Rick Jameson, I say Rick Jameson, bitch.
I love it. I'm actually more excited for the multiverse villains than both Spider-Man. I'm very excited for all of it, Gavin. I'm excited for me, this is obvious. Now, for me, those 3 Raimi films, those are my child. Those are my comic book childhood. Like, comic book movie childhood, right? Yeah, like, I was a kid watching Spider-Man 2 in theaters, and I literally just... I was a kid. I was overwhelmed at like Doc Ock and that whole like fight in Spider-Man 2 on the tower and him dropping Aunt May and him going to get her and oh my gosh, there's so much like
dude, that second film
again.
So
again,
good.
again, it's my childhood. So for me to see Alfred Molina back, for me, if Toby comes back, I'm not kidding you. I will film my personal reaction in the theater. I'll turn on my camera quietly. I'll just put it in the cup holder, and I will literally you will see what I'll freak out.
Did you see Tom Holland on Jimmy Fallon a couple of nights ago, and he's like, everyone forgets that I'm the Spider-Man because like Jimmy Fallon asked him, will Tobey Maguire be in it? Will Andrew Garfield? But then like you could kind of see him. He's hiding it, but almost taking it personally. He's like, no, I'm the Spider-Man, you know.
I think he's playing with it because he knows it's gonna happen.
There we go. Trash Boy will be trash. Do you think so, Rick? Are you saying that because you don't think it'll be good, or is it because you're worried they're gonna probably erase the Snyderverse? Because I do want to get to those leaks. I know you guys talked about there are more leaks that have come out.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
The gravity needs to be there. Trash Boy, or if the MCU had the perspective of the character more developed to being Spider-Man of Peter Parker's side, Uncle Ben be his motivation. Yeah, again, there's very little motivation, right, to Tom's. You don't know about Uncle Ben. You just kind of know he was recruited by Tony for Civil War. The gravity needs to be there. The wait for No Way Home. Did Austin get his package? Adam, I always have my package on me. Robert Downey Jr.
Unfollowed. Yeah, we're gonna get to that.
Oh yeah. I saw that. Yeah, he has a new manager after his man passed away. He's making a new account.
Who are you talking about? Tom Holland?
No, he's talking about Downey Jr. Which that makes sense. Downey Jr. is kind of moving more into a producer.
Yeah.
Role, it seems like, so that makes sense. If the MCU had the perspective of Sam Raimi Spider-Man films are not as great as everyone makes them out
I don't
to
like
be.
the third one. You like the third one, right? I don't like that third one.
I'm not crazy about it, but I like it. I don't have that many problems.
I
love the Sandman storyline.
That wasn't bad, but the rest
obviously the problem most people have is the exactly.
By the way, that's how Ty dances in real life. We'll get you footage when he's drunk at a club.
Right. Here we go. Adam Silvestri, don't you start. Ty's out of his mind. The Flash will not beat Spider-Man. It could be close by. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why as soon as he was like, he thought Flash was, I was like, bet, that's an easy $100 right there.
The only way I could see it is, let's say, hypothetically, Spider-Man 3 isn't that good, which I don't think is going to be the case. I think
it would have to be horrible.
Or whatever Flashpoint is.
It would have to pull a Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, it had to, exactly. And then on top of that, the hype for Flash, like let's say they do early reviews, let's say they do an embargo lift a week earlier, and everyone's like, oh my God, like the critics are like, you have to see this movie. And the word of mouth is you have to see this movie. Then, because look, Aquaman made $1 billion. No one expected Aquaman to make $1 billion at the time. I remember John Campio's like, Aquaman is not going to beat Mary Poppins. And Mary Poppins like bombed at the box office and Aquaman got $1 billion. So you never say never. Remember we used to say the Snyder Cut, we'll never see it now. Do you know how much I had to pay for that goddamn poster?
$40
from HBO. That is the most expensive poster I own. $40 for a theatrical poster. I didn't want to get a knockoff one.
You want to get that one. You want the real one for that one.
None of these are that expensive.
Wow. But yeah, look, I guess never say never, but again, I would be.
But if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would take your bet. I'd be like, yep,
exactly.
Because it's Marvel, it's MCU.
I think both Spider-Man 1 and 2 are amazing, but Spider-Man 3 has to be the worst Spider-Man movie I've ever seen. Hot take, Homecoming's worse for me. I cannot get through Homecoming. I tried to give it a second chance.
Austin, give me 1 second.
I'm not kidding you.
I might as well do this. Give me 1 second. Sorry, just had to do that. Now keep going.
It's live this time. It's live.
Go live.
Look, again, hot take. For me, I actually cannot make it through half of Homecoming. I did try like a second time, and it's just so. Tom is so annoyingly bad for me. So annoyingly bad. I can make it through Venom or through Spider-Man 3 and Topher Grace's Venom. I know it's nothing like. But you know what? Again, I kind of enjoy it. I enjoy the Sandman storyline of Spider-Man 3. I enjoy even the feud and fight of Peter and Harry that's going on in that movie. And obviously, there's some great scenes as far as to what the symbiote does to Peter, because he becomes brutal, unhinged. Yeah, at the end, he throws that goblin grenade and just blows up. But it was that thing of like, okay, this is a changed Spider-Man. He ain't, So there were things to that for me for that movie that I actually really like. And again, I was a kid seeing those movies.
Answer this quick, because I think it's your childhood versus my childhood, because I got a couple of years on you. If you could only have one return.
I'm sorry, I'll take.
Yeah, that'll be it. We don't want to agree with each other.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton for me is being vindicated. I'm like, take that, Val Kilmer and George Clooney.
Right.
George Clooney was like bang supermodels till he married.
And hey, who knows? I feel like if Val Kilmer had not, he's obviously had some cancer stuff with his throat, and maybe if you were,
he's not a bad actor.
I wouldn't be surprised if he were in the position that they would ask him as well. But I don't think he is. Daddy's in the comments, everybody. Say hi to Ty.
Hey, Ty, everyone is sending super chats. That is why I'm showing all.
Ty, you're missing out today, dude. I'm in the middle of a flossing with Austin right now, apparently, as I'm going on.
I just put that on as a joke. I'm like, just all hyped up, and you're like, you know what?
I disagree. Spider-Man 3 is not terrible.
Hold on a second. This should show you how unexcited people are for Black Widow. We started talking about Black Widow. We got into Spider-Man.
We got into Spider-Man, and I'm far more interested in this game. Yeah. Andrew, totally. Spider-Man 2.
I used to have that poster. I love that poster.
Might be, I think still is one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. It's up there. Like, it's up there in the top 5 for sure. I mean... I know most people's problem was that Venom looked like a skinny bitch. My bad.
Damn.
Gavin said it, not me.
I didn't like his Venom at all. Topher
Gavin
Grace.
said it, not me, people. No, I agree. Daddy's home. I like that. Daddy's home. I agree. You're right. Spider-Man 3, that Venom design just was.
Wait, what's $40?
$40. There's no way Home Far From or Black Widow's $40. There's no way.
If it's $40 now, I mean.
He said me family. He did say me. I wanted to address that earlier. I think that's a reference to the family, which I do want to talk about. Maybe some memes at the end there too. No way Homecoming is worse than Spider-Man 3. In my opinion, it is. Homecoming's near unwatchable with that Tom Holland performance. Hey, everyone, Daddy's home. Blade. He's looking forward to Blade. Justin wants Blade. Spider-Man Homecoming wasn't
Justin,
bad.
So here's the thing. I'm okay with them doing Blade, but they've already said it's going to be PG-13.
Not interested.
I don't know. Speaking of Blade, dude, the guy who was in the first Blade movie, so this kind of is connected to what we're talking about. Are you familiar with Stephen Dorff? This guy. He was the villain in the first Blade movie.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not changing subjects, but did you hear what he said?
Yeah, he had some comments, didn't he?
He's like, I still hunt out the good shit because I don't want to be in Black Widow. It looks like garbage to me. It looks like a bad video game. I'm embarrassed for those people. I'm embarrassed for Scarlett. I'm sure she got paid $5-7 million, but I'm embarrassed for her. I don't want to be in those movies. I really don't. I'll find that kid director that's going to be the next Stanley Kubrick, and I'll act for him instead. And everyone's like, you were in Blade. I'm like, damn.
Right. Can you? Not only that. Just real quick, because I do want to just real fast. Let's just go through Stephen Dorff's filmography of the last couple years, right?
He's intrigued.
Because he made a great comment. He said something right. He said, I would rather work with that indie kid who's the next Stanley Kubrick. And let me tell you, Jack, he's still looking for that kid. He has
He's not
done
a bad actor, though. No, he hasn't done anything great.
not a bad actor.
And he was really good in Blade. I thought him and Wesley Snipes played off each other well.
Again, not a bad actor, but he has done terrible movies since 2012. He did a film called Sex Guaranteed. Like, what the hell does that even
That's about
mean?
my life.
Like, look, for him to be passing judgment on an actress who is leading a superhero franchise, a superhero film, who was a lead for years in a superhero franchise, I think is pretty ignorant of him. I'll just say it. I'll say it straight up.
See,
it's pretty dumb.
I think
Pretty
his issue is he's probably coming from the same place that Scorsese was coming from, or
I'll tell you what. I think
our friend Bobby Borelli would be coming from, like that these movies are ruining movie or cinema.
I'll tell you what. He just sounds like me, right? He's got some anger issues. I think he's a little upset because he didn't get the big break that he thought he was going to get. He was popular for a second.
Yeah,
he ain't popular
and he's a good
anymore.
actor. He was in a movie called Fear.com. It was a piece of crap, but he is a good actor, and he should be more stuff. But I guarantee you, he probably didn't know that the first Blade was a Marvel movie because it was not marketed as a Marvel movie. It was marketed as a Wesley Snipes kicking butt movie. You won't even see the Marvel logo in that movie. The Marvel logo doesn't happen until like the third one. Most of the people who saw Blade in 1998 were not aware that it was a comic book movie. It was the era of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Charmed. Vampires were kind of big. So Wesley Snipes, a martial artist who also was another big star, looks really cool with the shades and the tattoos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. I think let's see, PG-13 Blade is a mistake. I agree.
They're gonna nerf the character. That's why I'm also worried about the Punisher. They're gonna nerf that character.
Hey guys,
puppies.
Speaking of which, while we're on the Marvel stuff, real quick, Loki watch party tonight.
Right.
Episode 5, the big one, right? The one before the final, the season finale. Make sure and join us. We got 2 more watch parties left, guys. You never know who's going to join us. You never know who might show up, and so make sure and be there. Make sure and check it out. We are going live.
Speaking of which, you know that every Thursday, folks, we cover Loki, but we are still covering Loki on Thursday. However,
yes.
PlayStation State of Play, our good friend Jack Pierre, who's not here, is going to be they're going to be doing a State of Play during JIVIN with Jack, and PlayStation State of Play is usually about 40 minutes. So we're talking about Loki and then going right into the State of Play. Would you guys be interested in that? Because I would love to cover that. We covered Bethesda, we covered Xbox. I would love to cover the State of Play because you know they have good stuff. They're going to have good, interesting stuff to look at.
They'll have some. I'm sure they'll have some. I'm hoping, if anything, right, God of War. But I was talking to somebody, a friend of mine, who's getting a console. It's not a console. He's switching out. I don't know if you guys heard about that BS Nintendo Switch announcement, but that was just dumb. They were "Hey guys, wait a couple years, and we'll release a better one." Here we are, a couple years later. All right, guys, guess what? It's basically the same thing with a kind of nicer screen and bigger.
I would, if I would. I don't play Nintendo that much. I would get this new one. Hypothetically, but I don't really play that much Nintendo. I haven't played Nintendo since 1996.
My friend who has a Nintendo Switch literally tweeted out, "Nintendo sucks." Like, I was like, buy an Xbox.
I feel like Nintendo's still stuck in. I mean, look, they got some great stuff. I'm not going to deny, and they have a fan base, but I kind of stick.
That fan base, but that fan base eventually won't be enough to keep them alive.
No, it's not. I mean, we're in the era of Grand Theft Auto, Assassin's Creed, The Witcher. I mean, Cyberpunk. We're in a totally different era of video games. So yes, you will have the people who will play that stuff, but right now, video games are just larger than life. It's the era of Red Dead Redemption 2, of Ghost of Tsushima, Halo. It's just, and Call of Duty is still a juggernaut, despite people might think it's not, but it still is a juggernaut. But yeah, listen. So let me ask you. Let's talk a little bit. I know you and Ty talked about it. So this, to me, I just addressed what Gavin said. That show is a masterpiece. It is so well done.
Love Daredevil.
I don't know, even if they bring back the actor, I forgot his name.
Oh, Matt Murdock. Mr.
Charlie Cox.
Charlie Cox.
I don't know if they would even do Kingpin the way he was done in that show, because even without the blood and violence, is still a scary character. And the MCU, I love the MCU, but I hate to say it, are still very much marketing towards movies that families can go to see. And even that show, I mean, the first episode You have the Daredevil taking down sex traffickers. They're not going to cover that stuff in a movie. You know, and Daredevil will be fighting some guy in a costume, and it won't be Bullseye. Right. You know, it'll be Polka Dot Man, or Marvel's equivalent of the Polka Dot Man.
Polka Dot, yeah.
Have you heard these supposed new leaks coming out about Flash? Again, they're coming from Reddit and 4chan. Essentially saying that this will erase the Snyderverse. Again, not confirmed, not from a legit source, but, you know, since we're talking about multiverses and stuff, and I'm not going to play a transitional because they're kind of connected, but like that, yeah, the earlier stories that Michael Keaton is going to be brought in as a Nick Fury older Bruce Wayne. That's what, and look, the story they tell is still kind of interesting. I'm not going to deny it. It does sound interesting, and that the Flash is working with Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne to find out who killed Nora Allen, and somehow gets transported into an alternate dimension. But this is what the leaks are claiming. In order to solve this multidimensional problem, it will merge the two universes together. So you will have Michael Keaton's Batman and Sasha Cage's Supergirl in the new DCEU. And Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill will be bye-bye.
That doesn't make any sense. And if you think about it, like
this is what they're just saying, but I wouldn't put it past WB because remember, this whole Snyderverse stuff started about a year ago. Before that, Warner Brothers was already writing the script. They were moving on, and they may very well be moving on.
Could be. There's a lot of things I think that point. It just won't make sense. So you know, maybe sidelined their characters. Yeah. But I don't think those characters are gone. I think Charles Roman.
Dude, Affleck has been wearing a Restore the Snyderverse shirt. Did you see that on Instagram?
I think that was photoshopped.
Oh, was it? Oh.
I think that was photoshopped. I know. But look, you know, as far as I know, Charles Roman has said he's still involved with Superman and with Wonder Woman and Suicide Squad. So we'll see. You know, hopefully, I don't think I would hope it's not a full replacement. Maybe there are additions to the current DCEU, but I don't know if it's a full-on replacement. That'd be certainly interesting if it was.
Yes, it was. All right, guys. Speaking of the DCEU, we got some first leaked images from the PeaceMaker show. So this is not from the Suicide Squad.
Oh, right.
PeaceMaker show. We got our first images, and I gotta say, Cena, after seeing him in F9, his acting, I thought he was gonna be bad in that movie. But he seems to have some pretty decent acting chops. I've only seen him in a few things, and he's always kind of playing a John Cena type character. But I think this looks like good. He's covered in blood over there, so you know it's not going to be family. I mean, look at that shot. That looks like he's David Lynch over there. But I'm kind of excited for if HBO is making PeaceMaker. Even though I'm not gonna lie, I know very little about PeaceMaker. I still got to admit this has me intrigued.
I know very little. I guess we'll have to see. Obviously, they're taking a big gamble here. The movie's not even out, and they're giving him his own show. So we'll have to see here. You know, I'll tell you what. From the trailers, I'm not too interested in his character. I'll be real honest with you. It seems like just a guy that makes, you know, awkward sex jokes, and that's great and all. But I'm not 13 anymore, so.
Yeah, then why do you look 13?
Hey, man, that's why I grew this beard, okay? Don't come at me like that. I have sensitivity issues.
Oh, man. Listen, but look, I'm kind of interested to see what HBO, because look, his character could be awful in Suicide Squad, and then HBO, whoever's making the show, could make it into a really cool show. That's an entire possibility.
And of course, the good thing is James Gunn's fully behind it. Like, he wrote it. I think he directed 8 of the 10 episodes. Like,
really?
He wrote the whole thing. He's like,
he's the showrunner. That's right.
He's the showrunner. Like, so that says a lot to me too. Okay, like I'm like, all right, I might be, you know, interested.
I think Suicide Squad is going to be a sleeper because I think right now, every time people hear Suicide Squad, the general audience is not you and I or our fan base. Ooh, I called you guys our fan base, my jackalites. But I think that the Suicide Squad could be one of those movies like, holy crap, that movie was really good. I also
Breaking!
Wait. What do you got for
All right, guys, here we go. We are here. Thank you for joining us for this breaking news update. Quick shout out to Caden Reed for sending it our way. But guys, Zack Snyder's next film has been announced. It's his next film. To the shock, the Illuminati got it wrong. The Illuminati claimed that Horse Latitudes would be his next film. That is not true. Exclusive, Zack Snyder has set his next movie, the sci-fi adventure Rebel Moon, at Netflix. Snyder will direct, co-write with collaborators Shay Hatton, Army of the Dead, and Kurt Johnstad from 300. And the plan is to start shooting in early 2022.
All right, let's take a look at this.
Yep. So we have that's from the Hollywood Reporter, guys. Let's see here. There we go. Snyder will co-write
and direct the intergalactic adventure inspired by Japanese filmmaker Akira Kurosawa. Oh.
Yes!
So he's gonna make a Kurosawa type thing. Ooh.
Guys, this is the one that I've been waiting for. Obviously, I guess you can consider, right? I guess superhero genre is sci-fi, I guess, and all of that. But I want to see Zack Snyder make some stuff in space.
Yeah,
this is it, baby.
It's Netflix. He'll be writing and producing for Netflix.
Woo!
He ain't for Warner Brothers to figure their crap out.
Let me tell you something, guys. I love it. And
co-screenwriting Shay Hatton, Kurt Johnstad, who co-wrote 300.
Wow. Now that makes me excited because look, I liked Army of the Dead, but obviously the
Jello pudding.
Right, the Jello and the pudding. You get that she passed out, and I didn't know she did. Anyways, look, I'm super excited. I think this is gonna be so sick. Again, I loved Army of the Dead, but you could tell that was Zack Snyder story on Overboard. That dude put everything he wanted on. Yeah, I constantly say that, right? He needs someone to just kind of ground him every now and again, just kind of bring him back to reality. And these are two great writers to do that. I mean, man, I'm stoked. And Integrity's here. Integrity's here. Zack is back, and he would direct Zack Snyder's Justice League 2, starring Ben Affleck. Zack Snyder's Justice League is relaunching the Snyderverse.
Hey, dude, the day that news drops, I already know what my cold open is going to be. It's going to be me singing Hallelujah on a guitar.
We'll be here. And I will be the backup. And I will be the backup angelic choir, of course.
There we go.
Raging Entertainment, always good to see you, man. We appreciate you being here. But yeah, guys. So I'm definitely excited. Look, I kind of had issue with that Illuminati report when they started coming out with it.
Yeah,
because Zack has been.
We didn't even talk about it. We were like, whatever. I didn't.
Me and Ty kind of covered it. But Zack has been very, very open about Horse Latitudes. That's his passion project.
Yeah,
and that's something that it takes place in South Africa, and he wants to actually go to South. Totally understandable. I would too. Wants to go on location and shoot in South Africa. However, COVID is not. It's just not allowing that right now, and it's not allowing that right now for this foreseeable future.
Yeah.
So he had to move on to his next project. I'm sure Horse Latitudes is still on his list. I'm sure we'll still get it. But we can exclusively from the Hollywood Reporter say that Rebel Moon is his next film, not Horse Latitudes.
There we go. All right, man. We got two more things because we're gonna end it a little bit earlier than normal, but we have two more things we have to get into. So anyone who's a fan of comic book movies, if you're not aware, the reason these movies eventually got greenlit is because of the 1978 Richard Donner film, Superman. And Richard Donner, who created The Goonies, who made all 4 Lethal Weapon movies, passed away this past weekend. He was 91 years old. He was planning on a Lethal Weapon 5. Unfortunately, it never got made. And even if it does get made, it would be without Richard Donner. I became a Richard Donner fan, obviously, because of that very first Superman movie. this movie was monumental. I mean, in hindsight, it might look a little bit corny, but he found the right balance of corniness and realism. He went against the grain by casting a nobody as Superman, and it worked. Christopher Reeve is an icon, a legend in the role. We will always be debating who is a better Superman, him or Henry Cavill. I am welcome. I love that conversation. But look, Richard Donner passed away. I loved Richard Donner. One of my favorite movies is The Omen. Owen Gleiberman hates
Omen, man.
We'll talk about that on Saturday.
Owen what? Owen what? Owen what?
Gleiberman.
What about that movie? He what?
He didn't like it. He said he just thought like it was Rosemary's Baby if the baby grew up. I was like, oh, okay, I never thought of it that way. But I actually love The Omen.
So The Omen is probably my all-time favorite horror film next to The Exorcist.
Oh,
and now I have a thing, right? Because I obviously I had a dream. I had a dream to dream and time gone by. Anyways, life moved on and I grew older, but I of course wanted to be a filmmaker when I was younger, and I had a thing, right, that like I would never remake a movie.
Yeah.
But I thought if I had to make an exception, the one movie I would want to remake, or the one movie that I would want to do, is The Omen. I love the Omen and the concept and the idea. And
heck, I mean, just
and that's not to say I would redo it because I didn't like. I would redo it because the first one is like near perfect. I would have to do like a completely different version and things like that.
They did do a remake with Ray Donovan. What's his name?
With Liam Schreiber. Yeah.
I didn't see it. I heard it was too similar, almost not shot for shot, but it was pretty much a shot for shot.
It was very, It was.
There we go. Integrity says he's a huge Donner fan before the Snyder cut. Yeah, there was the Donner cut, and
that's
we
right.
talked about this with Owen.
That's right.
Because he basically Superman 1 and 2 were being filmed back to back. And the Salkind brothers, kind of like Warner Brothers, were like, no, stop. But let's get Richard Lester to come in and finish. So Donner shot like 75 to 80% of Superman 2, was fired. They fired Richard Donner, brought in, I think it was named Richard Lester, I believe his name was. And he basically kind of reshot most of the movie and did his own thing. And for 20, 30 years, fans are like, we want to see the original Donner cut. So after decades in the era of DVD, Warner Brothers went to Richard Donner and said, here's some money. Can you give us the Donner cut? Yep. So before this has happened before. Warner Brothers has a history of this stuff. This is not new.
As far as I hear too, there's the Schumacher cut. The Schumacher cut is out there.
Donner was iconic. Look, say what you will about buddy cop movies. Those Lethal Weapon movies, I don't know if you've ever seen them.
Oh, God, they're some of my favorite. I love them. He defined that, redefined that buddy cop genre too. And that was something that was so popular, especially with the 48 Hours. You had Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy and all that. And Lethal Weapon was it was its own thing. It separated itself and it was great, man. And it had great drama.
The fourth one introduced Chris Rock in a big movie, and it also introduced Jet Li. I think that fourth one's really good too, and I wish they had kept going on with them.
You can't forget, of course, our favorite Joe Pesci, right? As their as their little info guy, right?
The bad guy, but then dude, Joe Pesci and Chris Rock have the greatest conversation back and forth about cell phones, and I'm like, God, that's where sometimes you don't see writing like that anymore. It's it was a 90s movie, but it was a shoot off of the 80s. But Richard Donner was such a master class,
Dude, he created some of the most iconic films of that era. He was very much a Steven Spielberg. He set the tone. He set the
oh my God, I forgot the Lost Boys. You're right, Charlie. The Lost Boys. You ever see that one with the vampires?
Yep.
Kiefer Sutherland. Kiefer Sutherland was so badass in that movie. How are you badass at age 21, Jack Bauer?
Dude, right. Gavin, agreed. Masterclass, man. That guy was, he was the filmmaker of his time.
Oh, sorry, you're right. Integrity. They were shot simultaneously, not back to back. You're right. They butchered two in 25 years. We got to see the true conclusion of Superman the movie.
But look, that just goes to show the diversity too of his filmmaking, right? He did a comic book movie. He did a horror movie. He did a kids movie. He did thrillers. He did action comedies. The guy was. There was no genre he couldn't tackle.
and this is something, yes, he's an auteur, but if you watch Lethal Weapon, you watch The Goonies, and you watch The Omen, or even Superman, you would never guess that that's the same director. He just was so good at doing different genres, just like you said. And it's a shame because that's an era of director we don't see anymore. Because these days, you watch a Chris Nolan movie, you can tell it's a Chris Nolan movie. You watch a Tarantino movie. Now, again, that's auteurism. I'm fine with that. But, like, he was just one of those directors who just could do everything, just did whatever he wanted to do.
Yep, I agree. And
hey, you guys!
Yeah, obviously, it's a tragedy, and I know they were in talks to do Lethal Weapon 5. I know in their older age and stuff, but they were in talks to do it. So I don't know. That's
Charlie,
up in the
he
air
produced Free Willy. He didn't direct it, but yes, Free Willy is another great movie.
But just to kind of say real quick before we move on from the topic, obviously this has been a big question this week as well too, right? With the whole Grant Morrison comments and all of that has Hollywood kind of given us too dark a version of Superman? Now I'm starting to even hear complaints about Donner's Superman being too dark sometimes, and I just think it's interesting, man. I know Matt Jarbo and Poindexter Lounge have been talking a lot about it, and I'll be honest, I couldn't care less about the character of Superman when he's the good boy, incorruptible Boy Scout. I think it's incredibly boring to me. Yes, I've read Superman and the Elite. Yes, I've read Superman All-Star. All good stuff. But for me, it's not why I care about the character in any way, shape, or form. And I just think that, it's time to see other iterations, right?
And I'm
give
fine
other
with
people
that.
a chance.
If you want this Superman, watch Superman Returns. That was a sequel. Even watch Superman and Lois. That is very much a Christopher Reeve Superman. And I like Superman and Lois. Some people are like, oh, he's not my Superman. It's okay. Just like the multiverse. I can love Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton. I can like Heath Ledger and Jared Leto and Joaquin Phoenix. I don't mind the lighthearted Superman. I like Superman and Lois. I have to catch up on the last few episodes. But I also like what Henry Cavill's doing with Superman. I kind of like his take. And in kind of, in the Snyder Cut, you kind of see that old school Superman popping up a little bit, truth, justice, and the American way type thing.
Justice, trash is better than Superman.
You know what, Justin? I think you have anger issues.
Oh,
you have anger issues, Justin.
I love it. Again, right? I do think that the character is very boring when he's the good boy.
No,
incorruptible.
That's where good writing comes in. I mean, that's how I kind of felt about Captain America. You know who made me fall in love with Captain America? Chris Evans. I mean, I have Captain America comics.
Yeah.
But he made me like, in the same way, I will be honest, I have Thor comics. I was not the biggest Thor fan. I have the comics, but what's his name? Who plays Thor?
Chris Hemsworth. I
was like, it's one of the Chris's. He made me fall in love with Thor, and I loved. I'm not talking about Thor Ragnarok. I'm talking about that first Thor movie. He drew me in. He's like, he is my brother and the son of Asgard, and you will respect him. He killed 70 people in 2 days. He's a doctor.
Right.
I love that. I don't know if it's streaming. I have him DVR'd. I don't know if it's streaming. Okay. I think CW has an app that you can stream them on. They're entertaining. They're still CW shows, but they're done pretty well.
I think HBO Max does put them on up too. Ooh. I don't know. It could be wrong. Could be wrong. When you watch Brandon Goonies and realize that he's also Thanos, right? Exactly. That's right, Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin was in Goonies.
That's right.
I forgot it. Yeah, I mean, I knew that, but like you kind of forgot about it. Oh my God, I'm having so much fun today. Like Billy Roberts and Adam Silvestri, both of you have been like, not sick. Sometimes I'll see Billy and then I'll see Adam. I'm like, maybe it's both of them have the same, like, two different accounts, which we're fine with, guys. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Austin, we have one more topic we need to talk about.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck and Jennifer. No, that's not what we're talking about.
Oh my God, Jennifer's back.
Jennifer's back. No, that's not what we're talking about. It's Star Wars related. We were going to talk about this last week, but this is how you know when the show's doing good is when we run out of time and we can't talk about all the things we're going to talk about.
Right.
So I have to talk about this. I grew up
Yeah, and you introduce this. I'll be right back.
Okay, so basically, guys, I grew up watching Star Wars. I am old enough to remember when there were just 3 Star Wars movies. All right, and Boba Fett had a ship, and Boba Fett was not a good guy. Let's get that out of the clear. All right, now they kind of rehabbed him because he's such a popular villain. You know, it's clear in The Mandalorian he's kind of a good guy-ish. But when you saw him in this movie, and you saw him in this movie, and this movie, and I know they're all Empire Strikes Back, this dude was bad. This dude was evil. And his ship was called Slave One. Now, Disney is, of course, owns Lucasfilm. And they're releasing the toy of the ship, and they're changing the name of Boba Fett's ship from Slave One to, wait for it, Boba Fett's ship. I kid you not. That is what it's called now. Now, I get, okay, if I want to be PC, I get it. All right. You don't want to have the word slave on your toys. I get it. But this dude was a bad guy. He was a bounty hunter who killed and arrested people for money. He stole Mandalorian armor, or rather his father, Jango Fett. His father was a bastard. He was a bastard. But it's okay. You know what? Darth Vader was also a bastard. Villains are villains. You know, and his ship was called Slave One. And, you know, I get now that because of the Mandalorian and the Book of Fett, they might want to change that. Because it seems, especially in the last few episodes of Mandalorian Season 2, that Boba Fett's kind of rehabilitated. He sort of had a come-to-Jesus moment, you know. Well, not Jesus, but you know what I mean. Like, they're kind of like, he's seen the light. He might be more of a, maybe still an anti-hero, more into a hero. I don't know. We'll see. But, yeah, so basically they're changing. I mean, yeah, it is quite clear. He's a bad guy in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. He is a bad guy. That's okay. I'm fine with that. I like that Boba Fett was a bad guy. But in Mandalorian, I kind of like the way they're kind of, you know, he helps baby Grogu. He's doing his best to kind of rehabilitate himself. So they're changing the name of the ship from Slave One to just Boba. And I get it, especially in today's political climate. But at the same time, I don't like them trying to be PC and changing Star Wars. They've done it with Star Trek. They're doing it with Star Wars. They're trying to change, you know, the mythology so that it's more acceptable. I would say Disney, Lucasfilm have the balls and just say, hey, look, the ship was called Slave One because he was a bad guy. Changing the name of his ship isn't going to change anything. And look, it's a cool ship. He was hiding out in the garbage. He found Han Solo, followed him in the Millennium Falcon. But what do you guys think? Do you get it? Well, he's not a slave owner. The name is meant to be intimidating. Exactly. He's not a slave owner. Remember, he's a bounty hunter. He didn't kidnap Han Solo to, you know, keep him. It was supposed to be an intimidating one. And, you know, I haven't done much research as to why it's called Slave One. Is it because, you know, as Gavin is saying, it's meant to be intimidating? But, you know, he was a scary guy and he had a scary sounding ship. But you know what? They're getting rid of it. I don't know how I don't know how I feel about that. I guess they might address it in the Book of Fett. But hey, Ty's here.
Hi.
Hey.
Keep going.
Keep going. I don't know if they're just trying to be PC, because look, can you imagine a day where they censor Princess Leia's gold bikini? You know that's going to happen. They're going to put like a Burke on her or something like that. Oh, she's wearing chains and she looks attractive. You know, she's not wearing a bra. Like, come on, like, you know that's going to happen. Apparently, Carrie Fisher was like, "Why am I not wearing bra?" And George Lucas was, "They don't have bras in space because she looked sexy.
Yeah,
it looked hot." Yeah. And Slave One, he's an evil guy who has an evil named ship. Don't change the name of the ship.
So, was it? You said it was always called Slave One. That was the name.
Well, some fans are saying they never referred to it as Slave One in the movies. Just like
I was going to say, when was it ever referred to as Slave One?
It was just always canon. Like the AT-ATs are never called the AT-ATs or the AT-STs. Like those names, they were never ever act. But that was Star Wars canon. They used to have a little book. I remember with all this stuff in there, you know. But I guess they're changing it, you know. And see, Gavin makes a good point. You know, bounty hunters aren't good or bad. I guess the fact that he hung out at Jabba's palace after the fact. And then after Luke tries to escape, he tries to stop Luke. He's not like, dude, I did my job. I got my money. I'm leaving. He's like, no, I'm going to help you. But I don't know. In Book of Fett, it seems like he's going to be less of a villain.
Yeah, it seems like that's the way they want to go with this is take him to like an anti-hero, like Deadpool
Yeah.
style character. Which I don't know if you guys are okay with that. I'm for sure general audience when it comes to Star Wars, but I really couldn't care less about Boba Fett. Everyone's
Yeah, I
like,
mean, I was never one of those people who was like. I remember when I was a kid, everyone loved Boba Fett, and I was like,
he was like in 30 minutes total.
He's technically not in the first one, but Lucas re-added him from like a deleted scene. He's barely. I think it's just because he looked cool. I mean, that was the appeal of visuals. The guy just looked cool. I think the first time you saw him was like in a cartoon or something. I don't know, in the 70s, but people just thought he looked cool. That Boba Fett looked cool. And I mean, you guys are making the case bounty hunters aren't good or bad. It depends who you're collecting. You know, he's working for Jabba the Hutt. He collects Han Solo for the Empire. He works with the Empire to trap Han Solo. I don't know if that makes sense.
The way I always look at Slave One is like, technically it's a reference to himself. And look, I don't think he's a villain. I really don't think Boba Fett is a villain. He's a victim of circumstance in the Star Wars universe. He really doesn't have any other option to be anything else than what he is. You know, his father was the main clone that they based all of the clones off of. So in himself, he is a slave. And not only is he a slave, he is the number one slave. He's literally.
Oh, that's an interesting way of looking at it.
So I always looked at it like that. I don't know, what the reasoning, but Ty also makes a good point in that I don't remember them ever like referencing Slave One as the name of the ship, or as the, know what I mean?
There's a lot of Star Wars stuff in there. They never refer to AT-AT walkers as AT-ATs, or they refer to like the different Star Destroyers by their designation. It was just one of those things that was part of the canon. Which now I don't know, because Disney, I remember they got rid of the canon books that were canon, which like the General Thrawn stuff. Right. It seems like they're bringing back with the TV shows, but I don't know. It just seems like just a PC move. I don't know.
It could be. I don't know. It's definitely probably is. But I guess the question is, what is it now, or what's the reason? If they're going to address it on the show, are they going to actually address that if there's a name change, or because I'd have to look around and do some more research as to if they've referenced it in any of the shows or movies as Slave One.
I haven't gotten to the part in Clone Wars where he does show up in Clone Wars, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to that part yet.
But as a kid, he's a kid. Yeah,
Charlie makes a good point. If you think about it, Han Solo could be considered a bad guy. I think the whole point was that Han Solo was a bad guy. I mean, not a bad like he goes out and kills people for fun, but he takes money and does things for money. And that's why one of the reasons I hated The Force Awakens is that Han Solo has arguably one of the coolest arcs in Star Wars. He goes from a riffraff guy who falls in love with a woman, and then for that one fights for a great cause and becomes a general. He volunteers to return the Jedi. Whereas in the first one, it's like, I got to get paid for this. She better pay me well. And Return of the Jedi is like, no, I'm going to lead the mission to go on to Endor. And then in Force Awakens, he's back to being a smuggler. I'm like, dude, he was a smuggler for like 2/3 of one movie, and he's a hero for the rest of it. But that's a good point. I'm not against them changing Boba Fett, like making him an anti-hero. He does help Grogu. He does help, what's the Mandalorian's name?
Din Djarin.
Din Djarin, right? He helps them, and all that stuff. So I'm okay with him kind of having, like I said, a come to Jesus moment, like being in the Sarlacc pit.
But with that said, they announced this week that Book of Boba Fett is basically the R-rated Mandalorian. It is a grittier, darker show that is like Robert Rodriguez was quoted as saying it's all killer, no filler.
Okay, good.
And I was like, please take.
He says that. My God.
Yes. Yeah.
Dude, Robert Rodriguez. I got my Grindhouse poster up. I love Robert Rodriguez's style. Him and Tarantino are very good in style and story. I
argue that Boba Fett episode of Mandalorian season 2 is just as good as the finale.
Oh
yeah. For me, as a Star Wars fan, it's just as good as that. Those two. Yeah, those two episodes are just.
But I thought very clearly they were trying to rehabilitate his character. What did you think? Like,
to some sense, but not necessarily either, because I don't think a good and all-around good guy, rehabilitated guy, would go around and seems like he's not just going back to Jabba's palace; he's taking over.
Yeah,
he's
so
gonna be a
that's
gangster.
badass.
When he sat in that chair, it reminded me that of that poster for Breaking Bad where you see Walter White just sitting like a pimp, like in a chair. It was one of those promotional things. He's got his yellow meth suit. Like, I'm the Kingpin. I'm the new Scarface, baby. That kind of
that's basically what I get. Those are the vibes that I'm.
So maybe he's more like a Tony Montana. He's a bad guy, but he's got a heart. Maybe I'm okay with that. And if
like
in the show he says, "I'm changing the name. I'm no longer a slave,"
Right.
But he puts a pride sticker on it. I'm like, come on. Now you're just pandering. Or a BLM, hashtag next to it.
That'd be pretty funny.
Boba Fett fights racism with his guns.
Do you think? What would you rather? Would you rather have Boba Fett as a hero or a villain, or neither?
I would have him.
I like him in the neutral zone. I
would say like Tony Montana or Walter White, where they're kind of bad, but you're kind of rooting for them.
Right.
But it always seems like I want him neutral, but it's one of those that it always seems like his interests fall more on the side of the good guys. But it's not necessarily that he's doing it out of good guy motivation.
Okay.
But the reason I made the Tony Montana, like in Scarface, Tony Montana's a bad guy. He's the evil person who kills people, but then there's a point where he has to kill kids. He's like, I don't kill no kids, man. I don't do that. He kind of has that, thing where he's like, dude, I'm not going to kill kids. Like, I'm not crossing that line. But then you have Walter White who might kill kids. I mean, we see him get pretty vicious, but he's still the main character, and you're kind of rooting for him. I don't know. Would Disney go in that direction? I'm not saying it'll be as violent as Breaking Bad, but like that kind of moral ambiguity. Because Din Djarin, it's very clear, is a good person. He has a good soul. He sees a child who's helpless, and he forgoes the money, he forgoes his code, takes off his mask.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything that he believes in, basically.
Yeah.
For this thing that he finds.
For Grogu.
Yeah,
which if I found a Grogu, I would probably do the same exact thing.
It's adorable.
I would do the same thing. I could not leave that thing on the side of the road and just call it a day.
Yeah,
I would not be able to sleep.
You are a heartless human being.
Like he's so cute. I love him. He's so like when he's eating the little eggs in that one episode. They literally made us think about that though.
I thought it was a little bit weird. I was like,
I thought it was
but people made such a big deal about it. They're like, oh my god, so he's a brutal.
They thought they were making a pro-abortion message, which that is not what the show was doing. Like it wasn't saying like, hey,
ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
I think that's where it was coming from. I was like, no, they're eggs. I mean, you eat a chicken every time you eat an egg.
Good lord.
So that's why I just laughed at all that stuff.
Yeah.
But like,
I thought it was great.
I was just like, yeah, go ahead, Grogu. Keep eating those eggs.
I like it when he kept trying to grab the little frog and he puts the frog in his mouth. Or when he takes that little thing from like the stick shift and like he's taking the round thing and
right.
But yeah, no, Book of Fett comes out this year, right?
End of this year. Yeah.
Spider-Man and that both are. This is gonna be a crazy Christmas.
Crazy Christmas. It's gonna be.
The Flash is gonna be better than Spider-Man 3. Just
my god.
See, I think it might be better, but I don't know if it'll make as much money because it's MCU.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I'm promoting the hell out of this movie.
That's what the bet was. Okay, that's what the bet was. So I bet that No Way Home is gonna have a higher audience score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, audience score, not critics.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be box office.
So not box office. I got it confused. Not box office.
Audience score.
Wait, because
I'm not an idiot. I wouldn't do box office.
I was gonna say just because it's MCU. MCU can make everything right now.
Do you think I'm out of my mind?
Somebody said it in the chat, and I was kind of like, yeah, why would he make that bet?
No, not $100 on that. No, not on box office. On audience.
On the audience Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yes.
Okay, the audience score.
That is.
Would you also take into account maybe the IMDb score because that's also fan base? Well, no, then it complicates it. What if it's higher on one and lower on the other?
Yeah, let's just keep the Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. The one that most people would consider to be like the mainstream, like if someone was, I'm pretty sure IMDb started before Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh yeah, IMDb's from like 1991.
Yeah, but Rotten Tomatoes has like better brand recognition and
they're more popular. Yeah.
Listen, I think Flash is going to be complicated, but I think there's so much. I think there's so much mystery surrounding that movie. that it's going to drive people to get out and see it.
Yeah.
But the same thing on the other side of it, I think that people are kind of getting sick and tired of Spider-Man and sick and tired of Marvel.
And that's kind of the point I was making earlier, because I think the hype for Black Widow is so meh right now.
Right.
That like, I'm not saying it's not going to help the MCU, but I think it might hurt it a little bit.
The formula's drying out a little.
The formula's getting like, whatever. Okay, it's Black Widow and another.
I will
movie.
say, I'm getting a little tired of Marvel. I'll never get tired of Spider-Man. That's the one IP I think that even Marvel has that can stand the test of time. But
you sit here and trash on Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I still go see the movies, and I even said like, as much as I don't like them, I still go to the theaters and watch them because I love the character of Spider-Man so much.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go see those.
But do you think a lot of people are getting to where you're at, where they're kind of like, I don't like this version of the character anymore. I don't like what they're doing with it right now. I'm gonna go see it anyway. But
look at how the Snyderverse made half of its money.
Yeah.
Half of those people went and saw the movie to give it a chance, and then the next weekend the numbers dropped because they didn't like it.
Yeah, I think I don't know.
But they still went and saw the movie.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, word of mouth is going to be pretty good. Word of mouth is going to do a lot for both of the movies.
Both the movies, Flash, and I said,
No Way Home.
The only way financially I would see the Flash being Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 turns out to be awful. Which I don't think.
I heard you guys talking about it earlier.
Yeah, that's the only way I can see that gone.
If the reviews
Flash
came out
would be
early,
like, oh my God, guys, go see this movie. It's so effing good. Then maybe, possibly. Look, I didn't think Aquaman would make $1 billion. I knew it was going to do well, but that shocked. That one, a lot of people liked it. A lot of people went. It might have been people who wanted to see Jason Momoa without a shirt on. That's fine. Zack could keep Jason, topless for all of Snyder Cut 2 or Justice League 2 if that ever gets made. So, all right, guys, I have to wrap it up today. Ty, tonight we have the watch party. Remind everyone what time you go live.
2:15 a.m. To 2:20 a.m. Nothing really like just too much to talk about beforehand. Like Nicotine used to do like an hour pre-show, and it's like it's already 2 a.m. Like, come on, you're pushing it at that point. So just right before the episode drops at 3, kind of show up and we take it from there.
Yep.
There we go. And
it's not about the numbers; it's about the experience.
Yeah. And then tomorrow we got our super chat our panel. We have our panel tomorrow night, and then Thursday, Ty, we're thinking we're going to do like half hour of our show, and then PlayStation Live is doing like a 1 hour event. We might just integrate that from like 5 to 5:30, wherever. They're usually very short. They're about 40 minutes. They're going to showcase new games, and since I did Xbox, Austin, you're gonna have to sit here while I go like, oh my God. Watch that video. That's Austin.
Hey, at least my games were for everybody. I'm sure we're gonna. The Bethesda stuff, I guess. All right.
So, anyway. And
It's
then
only fair. It's only fair.
And then Friday morning, we're gonna be doing live from Showcase Dedham. We're doing Black Widow, so I'm excited to do the show, and I'm excited to see what the movie does. I hope the movie is better than I think it'll be.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
and then we got interviews. We got a whole thing of interviews
starting this weekend.
Owen
Saturday.
Gleiberman. I think we were saying Gleiberman before, and he's like, it's Gleiberman.
Yeah.
It was one or the other. We kept saying one, and he's like, everyone always says Gleiberman, but it's actually Gleiberman.
Yeah. Which we're probably still getting it wrong again.
Right.
I'll have to go back and watch that interview and watch out what he says. You guys want to close this out?
No, I'm not doing anything.
You're not doing anything. All right, Austin, tell everyone where they can find us.
Yeah, guys, make sure to check us out on social media. Be following us this month. Turn on your notifications for us because we have a lot for you this month. It's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome. We love your guys' engagement. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget, come back Thursday for a new episode of JIVIN Shack. Tomorrow, the panel. And tonight, Loki episode watch party. And Friday, Black Widow. Guys, we do it for you. We do it for the culture. We will see you next time.